Is that the kind of guy you trust who thinks people are asking to work longer? That's the type of individual we have in negotiations that could lead to a global economic meltdown.
Which side are you on? Which side are you on?
So let's go ahead and wrap this up for the day with this another fun clip. I mean, it's fun. It's funny in how absurd it is, but it's scary in that there's actually a chance that they're going to be able to do this. That is a very, very far from 0% chance that this is going to happen. And what am I talking about? I'm talking about cutting Social Security by raising the retirement age. That is what some people want to do, and that is what this Republican congressperson wants to do. And he says, in part, well, I'll just let him explain it. Let's play this clip.
Before I play, I just want to mention that we mentioned, well, we didn't mention today, but perhaps next week we can talk a little bit about the international implications here, because France is actually experiencing a very similar thing right now with the Macron neoliberal government attempting to raise the retirement age. Yeah. And we're seeing quite a bit of militancy in response from the labor movement in France and workers more broadly. So this will be an interesting, I think, story to keep our eyes on, how the retirement issue plays out in the United States versus France versus some other countries where I believe in the UK it's coming up as well. So, we'll see. I think it's important that we as workers recognize our common interest in where we're going through these common struggles, despite national boundaries. So that preamble out of the way, let's hear what this Republican has to say.
What raising the age of retirement?
That's interesting that you asked that question. People come up to me, the answer don't work on it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that's on the table, you're saying?
Well, if people want to work longer, maybe you need to give them an incentive to do it.
Okay.
Yeah. That's a way to solve every one of these problems, by the way.
I know.
And actually, grow wealth at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Just take that right there.
So people are actually coming up and telling him they want to work longer, and so he, I guess there are a couple things there, and the first one is that, and now look, I think maybe it's perhaps the case that I'm too online, and maybe out in the real world there's some big communist government rule and regulation that actually prohibits you from working after you're 65, and maybe that's the case, and then I would probably oppose that and say that you should have the freedom to do some sort of labor if you want after 65, and so maybe I'm just too online to know that that's the case. Adam, I know that you're more in the real world maybe than I am. You're less online. Is something happened that I've missed that is actually prohibiting people from working past 65?
Yeah, it's called systemic age discrimination by capital.
Interesting.
Haven't run across the government dictates that say you must stop working at a certain age, but now companies make it pretty clear how they value folks past a certain age. So, but having a retirement age and then having a retirement age that you hit and, okay, this is your full pension, right? That's not the same as saying you must retire at that time. Plenty of folks are working past 65 and 67 and into their 70s if they want to do that. And that's my distinction is if someone wants to do that, and I know plenty of people who are like that who say they want to keep working because they're enjoying it and they're still healthy and it keeps them busy and they get money, and okay, if that works for you, that's great. Unfortunately, there are a lot of folks who are working well past what should be a decent retirement age with dignity because they have no other choice and they can't afford not to. And that is a real problem that our Republican congressman there seems a little ignorant to.
Yes.
Because I believe that anyone who, if legitimately anyone has ever told him these things, which this who knows? But if anyone's ever made comments to that effect, I would assume it's like the people I'm describing who say, yeah, I don't plan on retiring yet. I'm still having fun. I mean, we all know that guy who says that, right? There's always that guy, especially if they're in a nice office job. Someone in the chat mentioned try being a bricklayer or roofer when you're in your 60s. A little bit different. I don't know many folks in those blue collar trades who are that that pumped to work into their 70s. So, but it is concerning. It's very concerning though that they're looking at attacking Social Security yet again and going after the retirement age potentially.
Mm-hmm. And that's the thing is that obviously even if somebody is going up and saying because I don't know that I'm going to necessarily stop doing when I turn 65 or 67. I think, Lord willing, if nothing happens, I'll be able to actually retire at 57 because that's when I'll be able to retire with my full benefits from my job and be able to retain my employee health care. So that's when I plan on retiring. But I don't intend to, unless my health declines to such a degree that I couldn't, but I don't intend to just stop doing, but I do intend the second that I can to stop working to live, right? And that's of course the case for anybody, is that nobody is coming up to this person and saying, make it more difficult for me to survive my senior years.
Right, which is ultimately what he's describing, or what he's going to be backing legislatively is a program that makes it harder to survive for most people.
Yeah.
No one's asking for that.
Surprisingly.
No normal people are asking for that. Only your oligarch donors.
But get ready for it, folks, because this is what they're going to try to do. They're going to try to use the debt limit and exploit that, and they're going to risk a global recession to try to steal from seniors. And that's the thing. That's the thing that they're going to try to do. But by using the debt limit, because what's going to happen if we actually really don't know what would happen if the U.S. defaults on our debt, because we've never done it before. But it has the potential to cause a global recession, and so it's worth understanding what they are risking a global recession for, and that is to take money from seniors.
And I couldn't help but think, as you were saying that, and kind of laying out the stakes, is that the kind of guy you trust to be at the helm? That gentleman there who thinks people are asking to work longer, that's the type of individual we have in negotiations that could lead to a global economic meltdown. Not very reassuring.
No.
Can't say so. Just all the more reasons why we as everyday working class folks got to look out for each other.
You just saw a clip from the Valley Labor Report. We are live every Saturday morning from 9:30 a.m. till 12:30 p.m. And we pride ourselves on keeping all of our content free to everybody so that we can talk to as many working folks as possible. If you support the work that we're doing, you think that it's important, you think that it's good, then consider making a monthly contribution to the project, and you can do that on our website, tvlr.fm.